So hi students, welcome to this session and we shall be analyzing CUET Combined University Entrance Test 2022. So if you look at this test, this happened organized at this level for the first time. So it's high time to analyze this test and so that next year aspirants are more comfortable and confident while taking this test. So let us start. So guys, we shall be taking up importance and pattern of this exam, composition of this exam, slot wise analysis, and strategy and tips. So guys, as you can see yourself even, so this test covers how many universities? 44 central universities, they accept the score of this test, and 12 state universities, 11 deemed universities, and 19 private universities. So looking at the importance, the number of institutes covered by this test, we cannot ignore this test. Students, for example, +2 students who would be interested in taking different courses in prestigious universities across India. So it's one of the prestigious tests. So if you look at the pattern, guys, pattern would be consisting of 4 areas: language, 50 questions, and in this they already have specified that out of 13 languages they can pick up one language of medium, which would be considered medium of instruction. Most of the students, for example, across India, generally this time picked up English language as a medium of instruction, the mode of the language in which the paper would be given to them. Second part, first section, language 1B means second part, again consisting of 27 languages, 19 languages, and again student has to pick up 1 or 2 languages, and again 50 questions would be based on language, first section, second part. Third very important area is domain specific subjects, and they have specified, CUET authorities specified 27 subjects, out of which they can pick up, as per the notification, at the max 6 subjects. So 50 questions would be based on this domain specific in the exam. And the very favorite section, generally considered to be the real competitive section, because whenever we think of competitive exams, so it's general perception, because you are all 12th class students, so but otherwise it's general perception. Whenever we think about any particular exam, we think of mathematics, we think of GK, we think of reasoning, we think of English language, and this combined part in this particular paper is also called general aptitude test. So general aptitude test will be consisting of these areas: GK, reasoning, mathematics, and what we also call mental ability, numerical ability, etc. So these are the pattern. This is the pattern of the exam that you will come across in CUET. Section 1A, language. So language, any one of the 13 languages can be opted. Number of questions, 40 out of 50. So we have got this option of selecting 40 out of 50. So be sure that what exactly you want to. So marks per question 5, total marks 200, duration of exam 45 minutes per language, and question type to be tested through. In this they'll be giving you reading comprehensions. And if I look at this year's analysis, CUET 2000, so primarily the weightage varied from day to day, slot to slot. And in one of the on one of the days there were 3 RCs consisting of 5 to 7 questions each, and in one of the slots, one of the days, there was only 1 RC. Primarily, if you look at English, the conventional idea is very simple, that in English language, generally we all come across reading comprehensions, grammar, vocabulary based question, analogy, etc., all different components. So broadly in the notification they gave this idea, and this was very true in the real exam also. So more or less the CUET exam moved around, the pattern moved around the notification given by them in the newspapers. So section 1, first B, languages. So there are 19. Any other language apart from the one you have selected in 1B, 1A may be chosen. So there are 27 domain specific subjects being offered under this section. So candidate may choose maximum 6 domains desired by the applicable university. So again, if you look at domain specific, now domain specific, for example, mathematics, commerce, accountancy, physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, these are the +1, +2 subjects from 3 different streams that we have in India: commerce, humanities, and science. So CUET selected 27 subjects that you can select 1 to 6 subjects on which you will be asked questions. So 40 questions attempted out of 50 questions. Now there would be some questions in which you have to type your answer. So that is input text can be used for MCQ questions. So the very important aspect to understand CUT, this particular section is that whenever we are talking about the subject, since you all 12th class as students, generally they take this entrance exam because to do graduation. So in India, if you look at the most prominent board is Central Board of Secondary Education, and they recommend NCERT books to be taught, to be used by the teachers in the schools. So if the student is very particular, thorough with NCERT books, believe me, that they'll be able to, next year also they'll be able to score well. This year also, those who knew this particular simple commonsensical part, that whatever books are used in the school, not the extra books that we buy to cover the different subjects, but I'm just talking about NCERT books. So in NCERT, generally people take these books very lightly and they ignore these books. But if you want to score well, please start reading these books, NCERT books, thoroughly and seriously. So for MCQ based on NCERT class 12 syllabus, so 45 minutes for each domain specific subject. Section 3rd, general test, generally what we generally consider to be the competitive exam pattern. So here 75 questions and 60 questions to be attempted. Out of 75 questions, time was 60 minutes. Now if you look at the time constraint, look at the time very carefully. 60 questions to be attempted in 60 minutes. So please do not be overconfident. Next year aspirants I'm talking about, and you need to learn the tricks to solve the question, to maximize your attempt and to save the time also, because competition is a race. You have to maximize your attempts by maintaining, and at the same time you have to maintain decent accuracy also. If you're not able to maintain decent accuracy, the game is over for you. So it has to be number of attempts also, it has to be accuracy also at the same time. But if you look at this year's CUT exam, so more or less all the sections, you talk about language section, you talk about domain specific section or general test. So they all the 3 sections, 4 sections were quite easy, or from easy to slightly moderate level this time. So all in all, CUET is quite manageable, but point is, since it has got very lengthy syllabus and generally people are not so aware of this particular test and they do not take NCERT books seriously, so they are not able to score well. Now what exactly we mean by NCERT books? So in an NCERT book, the content is generally presented in the condensed form. So it depends on the teachers. Generally our school teachers, great, all teachers are great and good. So they explain the subject, the concept while taking the classes. Because otherwise if you read on your own NCERT books, you will find couple of subjects like physics, like mathematics, the subject matter little condensed. You need to apply your thinking, reasoning to make the things understandable. But teachers, look at the teachers in our schools. So how beautiful they explain all the different concepts, so that you attending the classes or schools are able to understand them clearly. So guys, NCERT books are very important, and read them thoroughly. At our institute, hitbullseye.com, we have got Hitbullseye, online presence, hitbullseye.com, and otherwise Hitbullseye centers. So we have got content that we are proud of related to CUT. We have created, you talk about most of the popular 16 to 18 popular domain specific subjects. We have created the questions from NCERT books on each and every line. You pick up any line, you pick up any page of 16 or 17 or 18 popular subject domain specific subjects, you name any line and we'll create, we have already created questions on that. So we have covered thoroughly the books. So if you look at our content part, the test series part, or the classes that we are taking, so you will find questions, the subject specific question based on each every line. So very prominent, because we already knew that when this test was announced and we saw domain specific areas, so it was pretty sure that the reference books would definitely be NCERT, because this Government of India National Testing Agency is conducting this exam. They conducted this exam this year also, and next year also they'll be conducting. So government agency conducting one exam, so it's for sure CBSE, very prominent, very popular board here of education here. So obviously it was very obvious that NCERT books would be used as reference material to create questions as far as domain specific subjects are concerned. So we also knew this, and our guess was right, and we had now questions in our data bank. As present, we have the questions based on each and every line. So general test coverage, if you look at this screen, you will find input text may be used for MCQ based question, general knowledge in general tests, general knowledge, current affairs, general mental ability, what we call reasoning, numerical ability, what we call mathematics, quantitative reasoning. Simple application of quantitative reasoning means where we are given data interpretation, graph based questions, pie chart, table chart, bar chart based questions, called quantitative reasoning. Number series, it also comes under quantitative reasoning. So all in all, GK, reasoning and mathematics will comprise your general tests. If you look at the level of the questions, this time guys, the questions were pretty direct formula based question. If you know your fundamentals correctly, if you retain them correctly and properly, completely, so just you have to recall the formula while solving the question. So direct formula based question. You look at logical analytical reasoning also, couple of questions definitely would be there where we have to think a little. For example, couple of puzzle based analytical reasoning question. But all in all, general tests also was quite easy as reported by the students, and most of the students were able to maximize their attempts up to 54, 55, even 60s, 65 also out of 75 questions. So guys, if you look at slot 1, the overall difficulty level of CUET exam slot 1 was easy to moderate. I would say easy to slightly moderate, right? The paper was a bit harder than 12th board exams, no doubt, because in board exams you are given subjective questions, you know the content, you cram the content, you vomit during the examination. That is what our school's exams are all about. But in examination, competitive exams, our fundamentals are checked upon, and we need to apply the understanding of the subject while solving the question. But CUT somehow is quite manageable. You just have to apply the direct formulas. So candidate had to choose the sectional order, no doubt. One option again given to you. You can select the order of the sections before you start the test. Once you fix the order, let's say you want to start with aptitude, you can start with the aptitude. You want to start with the domain specific, you can start with the domain specific. But point is, it has to be then it has to be followed throughout the paper. You cannot change the sections. So many candidates even consider general aptitude very easy. Domain specific questions were quite easy, and questions were mostly from NCERT textbooks. I would say 99% of the questions were from NCERT books. You talk about history, you talk about politics, you talk about political science, you talk about economics, accountancy, physics, chemistry. You talk about because this time in the first phase of this exam, because window would be will remain open till August somewhere. So in the first phase, they took maths and humanities subject, commerce and humanities subjects, including maths is part of humanities also, commerce also, and science also. Right? Questions were from NCERT books. Slot 2. Students found the paper to be easy and moderate in this slot 2. Nothing was from out from 12th class syllabus. Some questions were from the topics, no doubt, because CBSE, let's say in 10th class also, in 12th class also, throughout somewhere in the year during the 11th or 12th class, they keep on sending notification to the schools that they have deleted, CBSE has deleted this particular topic from 12th board exam. No doubt, in spite of this, students were aware, they knew that already they were aware of this topic was not included in your board exams, but still they found couple of questions based on deleted topics in this area. So aspirant could select the section the way they wanted to start. Students had to wait for specific time limit to move. Now this is a little flip side, because this is a sectional time limit paper. For language you talk about, for any other section we talk about, generally we are given time limits. So no point, you have to finish, if you finish the paper before time limit, then you have to wait so that you can move on to next section until the time is over. So guys, English language. Now what generally comes in and what came in English language this time also, if you look at pattern, composition remained almost in all days, right? From, to be more precise, from 15th to 20th July, the more or less pattern remained the same, composition remained the same, a little variation was there. So areas covered in this language section as usual. reading comprehensions, vocabulary, grammar, analogy, sentence rearrangement, right? And overall feel of this section was again very easy to slightly moderate. For example, in how come moderate a little, that too. For example, one of the on one of the days, one of the words is antonym or synonym of the intricate was asked. The meaning of the figure of speech called onomatopoeia was asked. So couple of simple words, but the only problem with the vocabulary is that if you know the meaning, then you think that vocabulary is very easy. But if you are not aware of the meaning of the word, in spite of the word being very simple, since you do not know the meaning, therefore you will think that the vocabulary was quite tough. So point is that we need to improve our vocabulary, because vocabulary is backbone. And for example, we teach tricks like association method, root method, word family trick, how to track the contextual meaning to retain the words. So we teach couple of tricks to our very important tricks, powerful trick to our students in order to increase their vocabulary. RC's passages, for example, on one of the days 3 to 4 passages were there, on one of the days only one passage was there. So a little variation, but more or less they covered RC's, vocabulary, analogy and sentence arrangement. Now if you look at vocabulary, we should not think that vocabulary should be restricted only to antonyms, synonyms. So the section had vocabulary in the form of antonyms, synonyms, one word substitution, spellings, very simple area, spellings, idiom, phrases, even analogy. Now if I look at analogy, so analogy is something like this. We are given A is to B and we have to find out C is to what. Now this we have to find this pair. This is called question pair and this is called answer pair. At your level 12th class, students are generally not aware of this particular question type. So A is to B, these are two words. Similar to the relation between these two words, we have to find out this particular C is to D from the given options. 4 options are generally given. So again, if you look at this particular question type, you will find this to be based on knowledge of vocabulary. First, if you do not know the meaning of these two so-called question pair words, there is no point we can think of cracking, understanding the logical relation between them. So again, analogy is also vocabulary driven. Then it is context driven. And then if you look at sentence arrangement, what is this topic? Generally we are given 4 sentences, 4 or 5 sentences, and we have to rearrange them in a proper logical order. That's called SR, sentence arrangement, or what is also called parajumble. So all in all, the questions were pretty direct in RCs. If you look at the questions in RCs, those who already have taken this exam, they are pretty aware of that questions were primarily direct or factual. Means the answer would be directly visible in the passage itself, and the questions would start like something like this: according to the passage or according to the author. So this is called direct question. Most of the questions were direct. So section was primarily dominated by RCs and vocabulary. So vocabulary consists of antonyms, synonyms, one word substitution, idiom, phrases, analogies, spellings, contextual. And now this, if you look at RC and SR, sentence arrangement and sentence completion, called fill in the blanks also. So primarily if you look at these 3 areas, so they are primarily dependent on contextual understanding. Unless you understand what is given in the RC, there is no point you will be able to find answer the couple of questions based on that RC. So that is called increasing the level of comfort of this language. If you do not increase your level of comfort with this language, there is no point you can attempt the questions with confidence and great accuracy. So point is that you need to work on your skills. And for example, in RCs we have got, for example, 6 question types, like vocabulary based questions, main idea based question, inference based question, assumption based question, and title based question, right? Sometimes we come across critical reasoning based question in RCs also, but at your level generally you will not find critical reasoning based question in RCs. Now couple of questions were based on grammar fundamentals, what we call part error based question and figures of speech based question. So these actually are based on our grammar fundamentals. Grammar fundamental means noun, pronouns and their usages, and couple of questions based on these usages called part error question, where a sentence would be given to us and we have to spot the error. So that's how it goes. So English overall generally is very easy. This time it was very easy and quite manageable, but point is this, that generally students take this part very lightly, the English language very lightly. They keep focusing on the other areas, and before the exam when they pick up look at vocabulary, RC and other such areas, they are not able to solve the question, they are not able to go beyond 50 or 60% accuracy, then they get into depression or panic. So if you start something in time, including this language also, probably you'll be able to score well. So tips. So guys, what to do in order to score well in verbal ability or English language section? Increase the level of comfort of this language. Point number one, we all have to work on our vocabulary skills. We need to learn grammar fundamentals and practice questions. Learn, very important, learn tricks to solve important question types. And the easiest and the best resource to increase vocabulary, one, level of comfort of this language, two, 3, GK, which is part and parcel of this particular entrance exam, reading newspapers will be of great help. So at your age, I know that 12th class students, 11th class students are least bothered about what is happening in our country. Generally, they are not attached to newspaper reading, and because at your age, you all are quite busy with your WhatsApp chat, Insta Reels, canteen, bread pakoda, samosa, and WhatsApp chat, Facebook uploading. So life is full of excitement and adventurous activity, and we are least bothered about what is happening in our country except major events, right? And that too are irrelevant. For example, last year we all were engrossed, captivated by last to last year, I would say, the Sushant murder episode, etc. So we are always bothered about irrelevant things which you will never find will be asked in GK, general knowledge section. So I mean to say that reading newspaper, और काफी लोगों को तो लगता है कि न्यूज़पेपर जो घर पे आता है, your age 11 12 वालों को तो ऐसा लगता है, स्कूल वालों को, कि पेपर जो आता है घर में पापा के लिए आता है ना, पापा या मामा के लिए पेपर आता है. So आप पढ़ना शुरू करेंगे, start reading newspaper on regular basis, you will find things falling in place, and this will increase your level of comfort also, GK also, vocabulary also. So domain, let's talk about the domain subjects. So if I look at mathematics, so composition varied slightly, not majorly, only slightly. The areas covered were missing number, geometry, trigonometric identities, time, speed, distance. Now time, speed, distance prominently is very important topic. So based on only one formula, speed is equal to distance over time, but the application, if the question comes in twisted form, most of the students are not able to solve. So direction based question, analogy based question, age related problems, probability and functions, a few questions were there based on these so-called difficult topics. However, most of the questions, if you look at even probability question, if you look at time, speed, distance question, most of the questions, if I say I'm using the word most, it means more than 95%. So most of the questions were direct application of formulas. The only thing that you have to do in mathematics in order to score well in mathematics is to retain the formula, to recall the formula while solving the question, recall the tricks while solving the question, because mathematics primarily moves around recall of the formula and application of the formula. So it is very important, and it's again, you should have confidence also while solving the question. 80% of students are scared of mathematics, right? So make sure that you do solve these questions with confidence and practice a lot. So commerce, if you look at commerce subjects such as economics, accountancy, business studies, again they all had direct questions. That का मतलब हो गया theory based question था. Economics में theory based, direct application of the theory or the chapters you read in your 11th or 12th class. A few questions no doubt were based on numerical graph, and likewise in economics and statistics and commerce also, the accountancy also, we do have questions based on graphs and tables, balance sheet, etc. Little numericals, what we call. So primarily, but only few questions. So primarily based on knowledge of fundamentals. So guys, it is very important because in India we believe in cramming the stuff. Cram किया 4 दिन पहले पेपर में जाके vomit out कर दिया. So this mere cramming, भूल जाओ, will going to serve your purpose. It has to be in-depth coverage. So those who next year, those who are thinking of taking this exam, those who are in 12th class right now or 11th class right now, so start covering your books, textbooks, especially NCERT, thoroughly. In depth knowledge of fundamentals is required. Areas such as political science, in humanities also, economics, history, etc. were based on knowledge of these subjects as given in NCERT books. So no rocket science. History covered, for example, we have got 3 time frames that we study in history: ancient history, medieval history, and modern history. So we had questions based on the these 3 areas. Economics had a question based on, let's say, Adam Smith's theory, classical economics, neoliberalism, neoclassical. So demand and supply based questions and couple of other economic models. So all in all, whatever we read in 11th and 12th, and that too not very tough questions generally given. So this time we had easy stuff, manageable stuff, and assuming that next time also if you work hard, things can be managed easily. So tips guys, so thorough coverage of fundamentals. Please give due attention and importance should be given to NCERT books. Generally people take these books very lightly. No doubt with those who are IAS aspirants, they know the importance of NCERT books. From IAS aspirants, we generally listen the importance or significance of NCERT books. Those who are in 11th till 12th class, they keep, when they buy the books, they purchase these books, but they keep them aside, and we go for extra books. No, extra books are fine. I'm not against extra books. The point is, please do not ignore the basic stuff. So mere mechanical cramming is not going to help guys. वो रट्टा मारने वाली आदत छोड़ो अब. वो स्कूल लेवल तक तो ठीक है, बट स्कूल बोर्ड एग्जाम्स आर आल्सो चेंजिंग. देयर आल्सो वी हैव गॉट केस स्टडी बेस्ड क्वेश्चन नाउअडेज. देयर आल्सो इन बोर्ड एग्जाम्स आल्सो वी हैव गॉट मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस आल्सो. सो मियर मैकेनिकल क्रैमिंग, आपको सब्जेक्ट से कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं है, यू आर स्टडिंग फॉर द सेक ऑफ स्टडिंग, इज नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू इन स्कोरिंग वेल इन CUET. So need to focus on application based questions also. जब आपने कुछ पढ़ लिया, समझ लिया, whenever we ask any question, ये चीज का कहाँ लगता है, कहाँ application in real life, day to day life also, for other exams also. Generally 80 to 90% students are not even aware of whatever they have read or they'll be reading, studying next in professional years also. So they're not aware of the application of the knowledge. बस रटा मारा, अच्छा दे दिया. इवन नंबर भी अच्छे आते हैं, 9 CGP 10 CGP आजकल तो बहुत इजीली आ जाते. बट 9 or 10 CGP in your 10th or 12th class doesn't imply that you have understood the subject well and you know the practical application of the subject also. But in competitive exam this is required. So general test, if you look at guys, general test consisting of GK, reasoning and mathematics. This section had fair mix of questions from areas mentioned in the notification. So components varied a little across slots and days. Again guys, level of difficulty, certain areas, for example in one of the slots, one of the days, the puzzle based question was a little tough, and series based questions were tough. Mathematics was lengthy in domain specific, and here also numerical ability, couple of questions were calculation intensive. But again, if you are pretty comfortable with calculation, there should not be any problem. So as such, no specific area dominated. So fair mix of all the three areas, and in GK specifically, primarily the paper focused on current rather than static. They focused on current GK. So if you are in touch with a good news channel, let it be NDTV or any good news channel, and if you are reading newspaper on a regular basis, right, let it be 30 minutes per day, so you'll be able to score well in GK area. General test coverage. So questions were based on economics, GK questions were based on economics, biology, history. And if I look at history, geography, environment, books, authors, games, sports, generally you will all find this in newspapers also even nowadays. So weightage varied a little across lot, but more or less the things were pretty balanced. Science based GK questions were more on 20th July, for example. So they are science based GK question, and science, if I'm talking about science, then I'm not highlighting 11th or 12th wala science. I'm talking about 8th, 9th, 10th. So for example, if you eat consume carrots, it will improve, it will help in improving vitamin A level in your body. So simple question, evaporation, condensation, whatever we study in 8th, 9th, 10th, no rocket science, simple. And this is, there should not be excuses, sir, I am from commerce background, so I am from humanities background, so it's next to impossible for me to attempt science based GK question. 9th, 10th का science तो हम सबने पढ़ा है, compulsory होता है. So more or less questions were fairly balanced. Mental ability, this section of general test, questions were based on coding, decoding, series based, number series, alphabetical series, blood relation, direction sense, analogy, puzzle. Verbal reasoning means we are generally you'll find question something like statement argument, statement assumption, statement conclusion. A paragraph is given to us and we shall be asked which of the following can be inferred, which of the following will strengthen or weaken the author's argument. But only a few questions, but only the traces of these particular topic verbal reasoning was there. But most of the questions were doable, primarily dominated by coding, decoding, all conventional areas, sitting arrangement, direction sense, coding, decoding, number series, alphabetical series, little puzzle based questions, condition based questions. So general mental ability, what we call reasoning in layman's term, manageable. Mathematics, so questions were primarily based on basic arithmetic, one or two data interpretation questions also were there, and in one of the windows. So questions were also found on statistics and algebra. Statistics means mean, median, mode, standard deviation, etc., but primarily mean, median, mode if you look at competitive exam point of view. And algebra means linear equation, quadratic equations, x y wale question, they are called algebra. So again, the level was, the question was very easy. The only point is this here, if you know your fundamentals well, if you are pretty comfortable with your fundamentals and you're able to recall the formula or the tricks, you'll be able to solve. So in mathematics, tricks are very important because you need to, in general ability, we have to do 60 questions in 60 minutes. So 1 minute for every question. But if you spend more than 1 minute on most of the questions, you will not be able to reach the good score which is required, good number of attempts required to clear this exam. So guys, as 60 questions out of 75 are to be attempted, so one should be aware of the one strength and weaknesses. कौन से 60 करोगे आप, 50 में से कौन से 40 करोगे, 75 में से कौन से 60 करोगे. So it depends on one's strength and weaknesses. So it's very important to practice mocks, and we provide our students subject specific mocks also, practice tests also, sectional tests also, so that during the course of preparation you should be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and we should play as per our strengths. So GK requires only coverage. So guys, GK देखो कितना आसान है. You just have to be in touch with the area, this area. Otherwise GK आप पढ़ते नहीं हो इसलिए आपको नहीं आती है, right? And people are generally overconfident about their GK skills, general knowledge skills. वो सोचते हैं कि 2-4 जगह वेकेशन हो आए और तो इसलिए हमारा GK बड़ा स्ट्रांग हो गया. Please do not live in fool's paradise. आप गलती कर रहे हैं. So just you have to cover the stuff, and we publish GK magazine at hitbullseye.com. We provide monthly snippets also, fortnightly snippet also. We have got very special program on weekly basis called Bulldoze, B-U-L, Bull, D-O-S-E, Bulldoze on GK. So there we discuss the weekly current affairs, hot issues, topics, central topics. So in order to make the students aware of the important events happening and the major issues in this form. So until, see, mechanical rata marna GK ka question is again useless. If you have got context a little bit in your mind regarding the entire issue, the problem, you will be able to learn the question based on that particular issue easily. अब आपको ये नहीं पता कि who is Vladimir Putin, who is Zelensky, and where Ukraine is, where Russia is. You are so busy with your canteen, instant, Facebook and dude cool life, so you will not be able to learn grammar question, GK questions. So it is very important to build the context, and at our institute, at our teaching methodology, we strongly believe and support the statement that until unless you have got fundamentals in place, there's no point student will be able to understand or score well. So we focus on fundamentals, and GK also we focus on the context building first. We'll tell you the entire story or the background of the issue or the story, then questions would be given to you so that you're able to make out, okay, अच्छा ऐसा है तो ऐसा हो रहा है. Very important. So guys, it's very important for us to learn the tricks and shortcuts to increase accuracy and save time. So guys, if you ask me this year, the good attempts, language 1A out of 40, 30 to 38 considered good attempts. Language 1B, 34 to 36 out of 40 question. Domain specific out of 50, 35 to 37 questions considered good. And general aptitude out of 75 questions, 54 to 56 questions. Total attempts would be considered good. So that's how it goes. So guys, time has come to wind up this session, and thank you for showing patience till the end. All in all, CUT quite manageable. So I would rate the thought process behind the design of this paper excellent, because generally we think that competition is equal to only GK, English, reasoning, math, that to an objective. It was one of the components, and students generally feel that they were studying economics, mathematics, political science, etc., and nowhere except IAS you find that application of these subjects. So they have kept domain specific subject also. आपको लगता है कि you're from West Bengal, you're from Odisha, you're from Southern India, you know your regional language well, so उन्होंने regional language का भी option दे दिया आपको. So if you look at the design, the psychology, thought process behind this exam, so I would rate this exam as number 1 exam. Very standard exam in terms of wide coverage as per test takers' strength and weaknesses. So not everyone is so comfortable with this language, not everyone is so comfortable with mathematics or economics. So it should be the paper, the test should be as per your strengths, not as per paper setter strength. So I would rate this CUT, and it's definitely going to be one of the major tests in India to get admission in top universities, the course, university of your choice and the course of your choice. So start next year aspirants. So start thinking seriously about this exam, and this year's aspirants, all the best. And again, thank you all of you for showing the patience and watching this video till the end. All the best.